Hello everyone, hello, and welcome for this new sneak peek review of our next release, Xen Orchestra 5.69. This is already the end of March, and so it means the start of a new release for Xen Orchestra. This one will be available tomorrow, and this month we had a focus specifically on the updates features available in Xen Orchestra, not only the running pool update, but more generally all the updates component we had. And so I will let Oliver share with you all the information about this next release. So remember, it will be available tomorrow for you, and it will be available for the people using only the latest release branch starting tomorrow. So Oliver, I let you the discussion now.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. So today we will discuss about this release, and as Mark said, it's not all about, but there's a lot of things about updates. So we are talking on updating your XCPNG host from Xen Orchestra and in a way that's pretty easy to do. The thing is, we improve various pieces of it. Like rolling pull update and so on. So I will start with the rolling pull update thing. So I hope you can see correctly what's displayed in the video. So maybe we'll grow a bit the window of the blog post. So rolling pull update is a feature allowing you to, with one click, to be able to make all the updates, rebooting your host, and so on and so on. So this is very convenient, but we managed to find that it could be even better. So we improved the algorithm, and now we are doing it more sequentially than in parallel. And the main reason is for safety and resiliency. So basically now we will first evacuate the pool master. So evacuate means moving all the VMs to other pool members, then making the update, and finally reboot it and getting all the VM back to the hosts. So previously we did all the updates at the same time, but when you are changing a lot of important components that might break in sometimes. So we detected that for the latest XCPNG 8.2.1 big updates, and so we fixed that in the rolling pull update. So thanks to this big update, we managed to see the limitation of the rolling pull update algorithm. So now it's far better, more resilient, safer, and works very, very well regardless the kind of updates you might use. Also, if you want to not use the rolling pull update, but just installing patches manually on a pool or on a host, we will detect that if you have high availability, you can't do that. The thing is, when you have HA enabled, it will try to re-elect a new master if you reboot the master. And that might cause a lot of issues if you do that during an update, because again, the thing is to always update the master first. So that's why now in the UI, you won't be able to install the updates without disabling HA first. So that's kind of an extra security to be sure that even if you are not aware about it, then you will disable it before. Another thing for people not using the RPU is restarting the tool stack. So remember that rolling pull update, or RPU, will automatically reboot your host. So you don't need to restart the tool stack because the entire host will be rebooted. That's the best way to be sure you get all the updates. But sometimes when you install patches, if you do not restart the tool stack, so manually, I would say, then you might have issues to start new virtual machines and so on. So if you decide to go outside the RPU and just install the update, it will restart the tool stack. So fear not, it's not a problem if you restart the tool stack while your virtual machines are running. This won't have any effects on those machines. But now you are aware that it will be done, and at least this allow you to, if you absolutely want to avoid a reboot, to avoid it. But in general, again, it's better to have a physical reboot of your host if you can do it. So that's it for the update. So as you can see, it's a lot of different things, but it's really important because that's our goal, to provide a great level of security and updates. For that, we have to deliver updates pretty often. For example, for XCPNG, we have maybe one update per month, and in general, it's a security update. And so it's really important for the security to be able to get those updates. So that's why we try to reduce the cost for you in terms of time and investment to make those updates. So if it's easy to install and update, then you will apply them more often, which is a good thing. That's it for the update thing. Now we'll talk a bit about our new REST API. We call it public REST API because our initial API wasn't meant to be public. It was already announced in the previous release, but now we added 2 extra features to it. First, to give you a bit of context, the goal of this API is to be really easy to reach. So you don't need to have to rely on WebSockets and JSON RPC like the current API we are using. But this one can be reached just with any HTTP capable program like curl, for example. And in that case, we exposed the fact that you could export a virtual machine or even a disk of your virtual machine directly using the curl command. So as usual, you have to pass the a token, an authentication token, and then target the UID of your VM and use the right arguments, and then export the contents of this file directly into your local drive or save it or whatever. So this is very simple to use and flexible. So we hope that you will like it. So feel free to give us some feedback on this API. We'll continue to add more and more features until it could be at a similar level on our existing API. But again, the goal is a bit different in a way that it's not meant to be a connected API in like we have with the current one, but it's meant to just get some information at the time you are requesting them. But it's still useful in a lot of different situations. Now let's switch about XO Lite. So as you remember, XO Lite is the light version of Xen Orchestra that will run inside your XCPNG hosts. So the goal of the UI is to allow you to make simple operation directly from the host URL. So it's not meant to replace Xen Orchestra, but it's a kind of companion of Xen Orchestra when you did not deploy Xen Orchestra, if you don't want to deploy it because you only have one machine, for example. In that case, it can also be a useful tool to bootstrap the real virtual appliance of Xen Orchestra. So we work now on the dashboard, and we are making progress on the various components needed to do that. And as you know, also we are working with the UX designer, and we'll probably have very soon a dedicated devlog with her to explain our choices and so on. So we take our time to make all the components the right way, not just coding first, but thinking first. And all this work of shaping the component will be helpful for Xen Orchestra version 6. That will be a full rewrite on the UI, and not just that, but at least on the UI side, XO Lite is a kind of a preview on what will be the future of the Xen Orchestra interface. So stay tuned regarding a future blog post regarding that. So now we enter in the backup world, and we added a very convenient feature for Delta backups. Until now, you had the possibility to make backups on only some disks. So by typing no back between brackets in the name of the disk. But the problem was that if you wanted to restore a virtual machine, you had to restore all the disks of the virtual machine. So now you can decide to only restore some disks of the virtual machine. So let's imagine you are making a backup of a VM with one system disk and one data disk, and you do not want to restore the data disk for whatever reason. Maybe it's backup another way. Maybe you don't care about the data because it's only temporary data. Now you can just restore the system disk with the VM and not the bigger one with all the data that you don't care. So it's really helpful and working toward more flexibility in terms of backup and restore. And finally, the missed category. So there's different things, but they are also very interesting. The first missed feature is the ability to import a virtual machine from directly a URL. So basically, right now you can import a virtual machine if you have for example, the XVA file directly on your computer. Then you can drag and drop the file into your web browser, and it will send it to your servers. But sometimes you might have virtual machine hosted behind an HTTP server, and you don't want to download it first on your computer and then upload it to your server. In that case, you can just enter the URL directly inside the Xen Orchestra interface, and it will fetch that resources directly from there. So it's more efficient in various cases where you do not want on your side to download that file. And after that, we continue to work on the proxies, so HTTP proxies. So basically, this is when you have your Xen Orchestra and you connect it to a host or pool through a proxy, with a proxy in the middle. We started to improve that aspect because there are some people that are in kind of somehow air-gapped environments or very filtered environments where they couldn't access directly the remote pool or hosts, and they have to go through proxy. And we started to create that feature, but we had to also improve it to be able to go through the other kind of features requiring direct access, like consoles and statistics. So we managed to get that even through a proxy. So it means that you can even use Xen Orchestra in let's say, limited environment in terms of connectivity. So that's also something we take very seriously. We have more and more users want to use Xen Orchestra in specific or very secured environments, and working on that aspect is really important. And finally, the latest thing that we did for this release is improving the deploy script. So the deploy script is an alternative way of deploying Xen Orchestra virtual clients. It's not the first recommended solution, but some people couldn't use the simple deploy from a web UI. Sometimes they just have, let's say, an SSH access to the host. And with this deploy script, you can deploy the Xen Orchestra appliance. But before our modification, you couldn't, the template itself will deploy on the network that was saved inside the template that we are delivering. So sometimes it could be a problem, for example, if you didn't have this network recorded inside the XVA file we are giving to you. So we improve the deploy script to automatically modify the default network of the virtual network card of Xen Orchestra appliance to match to the network, your management network that's already configured. So by default, transparently, when you deploy Xen Orchestra on your host with the deploy script, it will automatically bind to the management network. So for you, it's entirely transparent, and it will work out of the box without any, tinkering or things like that. So it helps again to deploy XOA even in environments where you don't have an easy access, or you couldn't use the default way to do it. So that's the overall overview of this release. As you can see, it's a lot of things, in fact, for this release, and we hope to continue with that pace for the next ones. If you have questions, or if there is a feedback on things that you would like to get improved and so on, again, you know that you can go on our forums, on our Discords, and things like that to talk with us. And by the way, this live will be put online very few minutes after it's done. Mark, do you have any other closing remarks that we could do for this live?
No, I can only start a bit of teasing because this year is also the 10th anniversary of Vates, our company. So we are currently working on some stuff around that, and stay tuned in the next few months because we will have a lot to announce. And I think it's a wrap for this live session. So if you don't have any question, thank you for being there. Thank you for your presence. And of course, as Oliver said, the replay of the live will be available in the next minutes, and it will also be integrated in the blog post tomorrow for the release. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.